Welcome to the vlog. Welcome to No Boring Days. This is the recap of my UCI Gravel Worlds Championship experience. Here it is. This is too low. So this is the next day of the race. I've had a little time to absorb what happened and I'd like to talk about it. So in the beginning of the race, the starting line, it was very exciting. We got a chance to see some, really famous cyclists, and although I wasn't able to see Matthew Van Der Poel or Sagan, I did get to have a photo with Lachlan Morton and Magnus Cort, and that was pretty exciting. I was pretty thrilled, to be honest. It was just cool to be in that environment. That's probably the most chill part of the race, because everything after that was super crazy for me. So the race starts off with this climb. As soon as you get out of the starting line, it goes up, and then it goes up the road and then up into this like gravel section, this steep gravel climb. And I'm telling you, man, this is when I realized that the level in that race was totally different from anything I've ever experienced. I was going as hard as I could up the climb, and no matter what I could do, I was still getting dropped. Like, I couldn't keep up at all. It felt like everybody in that race, was like a different species of human. It was unreal. When I made it up to the climb, I still had it enough for me to just try to go fast downhill, just try to catch up, see what I could do. Then we hit another climb and some of the people overtook also there. Like, it's just a whole different level. It's unbelievable, to be honest, It's like one of the guys in the Philippines group. They said like they are like monsters here. In terms of cycling, these guys are monsters. They're super good.
Nice one, Drake.
And that was basically the last time I saw like a whole bunch of people. Like aside from, there's a part in the race where it's an off-road rocky. It's not quite single track, but really you can only pass one line, and everything on the left and right is full of like big rocks. So you couldn't. It's almost a single track, and that's when a big chunk of the higher age group started overtaking. And they were really aggressive, like, get out of the way, they're shouting, move your handlebars. And, that's what you have to do. Like, you gotta get out of the way and let them pass because they're going so much faster. And it was really interesting just to be in that environment where everybody was just a whole different level. Just to give you an idea, the first Filipino to pass the finish line, he was in my age group, 35 to 39. His name was Ramon Lapaza. He's the guy who won. He got the best time in Bungabon when we did the race in Nueva Ecija, and he finished it in 5 hours, 5 minutes, and 22 seconds. Which resulted in 21st place out of the 44 riders. So the level is just incredible. And he's like really fast. Like, there's no way that I'm catching up to him. So it's just incredible. So after all the climbs, I tried to push a little bit harder on the flat areas, going through the road and some of the gravel sections. And it was really fun. Like, the views were unreal. And I gotta say, it is pretty nice to bike in a place where it's not like stupid hot, where the air is kind of cool and you're not drenched in sweat after an hour of riding. I really enjoyed that. But at some point, my inner leg started to, I don't know what is this part called? Like this part over here, this part. That it started to cramp, And when it started to cramp, that was in about the, like, let's say 2 to 3 hour mark. And I didn't want to have to go through that through the rest of the ride. So I started to slow down. And that's the point where I met Henzel. We rode most of the way together, and it was nice to have a ride partner to share the suffering with. Because, I mean, I can tell you at about the 3 hour to 4 hour mark, I was complaining a lot. like, like all of the doubts crept into my head and all of the negativity, and I was complaining about my cramps. I was complaining about feeling a bit bloated because at some point, like at the 100 kilometer mark, there's supposed to be a feed station, and by the time we passed it, there was no more water in the feed station. They ran out, and I had zero water left. So it was a bit of a problem. And fortunately, like 5 kilometers after the feed station, we saw Marshall, and we just asked her where we can get some water. And we were super lucky because she just pointed to a faucet on the, happened to be a cemetery. So it was a faucet right there, and you know, we were super happy to see it. So we refilled our bottles. I drank some water, and I may have drank too much. Like I think I drank a whole water bottle like right away. So that's why I felt bloated. But super lucky to find water. Here in Italy, you can drink water off the tap. It's clean. So I was feeling a bit bloated, and you know, a lot of negativity seeped into my brain. You know, all of the usual questions. This is hard. Why am I here? All of those things. And it was nice to have somebody to just share the load with, just share that whole experience with. And I just met Henzel then, and it was really good that Henzel was there too, because he had a much better attitude than me, and he was, you know, just with him riding along beside me, I was able to get myself out of that funk. And when Cittadella, that's the finish line, when that started getting closer and closer, it made the morale go up a little bit. So the way the route is set up is that you pass the finish line once, and then you have to do another 25-kilometer loop before you actually finish for real. So when we passed the finish line the first time, it was pretty surreal. It was pretty cool because it I'll show you a video. But it was cool because you could see the barriers there. There were so many people on the side. They were cheering and everything. And you passed the finish line. And unfortunately, we had to go through another 25 kilometers to do it again. Now, at this point, this is the downer of the whole race for me, right? I mean, still a great race, but it undoubtedly was a downer at the time. So, with 25 kilometers left to go, we knew that the finish was just right there. But it turned out soon after we passed the finish line for the first time, that's when they started taking it down. When we started the race, it didn't seem like there was going to be a cutoff. Now, in retrospect, probably made sense that there was a cutoff because, I mean, definitely we had some of the best cyclists like in the elite category, but even in the age group categories, arguably some of the best age group category riders in the world, and the level was totally different, like incredibly different. By the time we actually reached the finish line, you know, we were saddened to see that they were taking it apart, and in fact there was a gate that covered the finish line, so we couldn't pass it anymore. So under the timing chip, under the UCI website, we were both under not finished, which is unfortunate, but you know, we still finished it. It's in my Strava, so it kind of counts. But all in all, it was a good experience. I really enjoyed it. I particularly enjoyed meeting all of the other Filipino riders, and
Nice one.
I'm hoping that maybe see them again, maybe ride with them in the future, and hopefully learn from them as well. That was really fun. I'm super happy that there's a whole bunch of Filipinos that got here because, as you can see, I am here by myself, and the whole Filipino community the ones that flew in from the Philippines, and even the ones that are already here. They helped out so much. So it was nice to be around all that. We had discussions of this prior to the race, but I didn't really have an opinion because I didn't try it yet. But now, having done the race, and in fact, you'll notice that the winner was actually on a road bike and not a gravel bike. He was on the Canyon Ultimate. I believe it was like 32C tire in front and a 35C tire in the back. And because the race route, aside from the first 20 kilometers and the last 20 kilometers, it was very road bike like. Like, it could have been a Roubaix, it could have been what's the other one called, Strada Bianche. It could have been like a race like that. And so in that sense, it was very much a road race with gravel sections, which is really cool. Which, I hope that's the fun thing about gravel races. Like in the Philippines, the one in Bongabon was a gravel race that was almost a mountain bike race because the terrain had really big rocks, very uneven, and lots of water crossings. So it was almost a mountain bike race, as opposed to this one where it's basically a road race with significant gravel sections. There were some very manicured, flat, hard-packed gravel, but there was also gravel where, similar to this, let me show you, where it's very pebbly, and the pebbles were very slippery. And in fact, a lot of people, a bunch of us, really did slip, especially in the corners. So, but that's not really that technical, to be honest. I mean, it's just really difficult when you're going like 30, 35 kilometers an hour. The really technical bits were like the first 20 and the last 20, somewhere there. That was like the really technical gravel portions. But as I said, as you can see also by what happened with the winner, like a road race with gravel sections. It'd be cool to see stuff like that in the Philippines. I wonder where you could have a race like that. In Cebu, it would be a lot of up and down, a lot of climbing and a lot of descending. So not quite the same. Maybe Negros? I wouldn't say the course was that difficult, to be honest, but since there was a cutoff that we didn't know about, and since the speed of everybody else was super high, that was the thing that was difficult about the course. Just to give you an idea, I believe from the male category that was on Sunday, I think there were like 10 or 11 Filipinos who did not finish, me included, of course, did not finish in the eyes of the UCI. I have to add. I mean, I finished the course. Just not according to the UCI. But yeah, it was tough. And you could see that with the results, especially if you look at the people who finished and the people who didn't technically finish. The people who finished, super strong cyclists. Kudos to them. Hopefully, if we do it again, hopefully we can do better. Does that mean I have to train a lot more? It probably means I need to train a lot more. Ugh, next year is gonna be brutal. It should be fun too. Okay, I hope you guys liked that recap. It is the best of what I could do since they didn't really allow a GoPro mount on the bicycle, so that's what I got. I hope you learned something. I had a really good experience. I learned a lot. And lastly, I would like to thank the sponsors, Turkish Airlines. Without you, this would not have been possible. Thank you so much. Badass, thank you so much for fueling my rides, all the training rides and the actual ride itself. AXA for my travel insurance, care of my wife, Steph. Thank you so much. Destination Specialist, that is a travel agency of my parents. Without their stroke of luck, this whole thing would not have been possible as well. Dance Bike Shop and Fox Philippines for the support, as well as Villain Cycles for the support. Thank you so much. And you, the viewers, thank you so much for all the subscribers and for all the YouTube members. None of this would have been possible without you. So hopefully we have a lot more adventures in the future. But for now, a little off season for me. I mean, you know, a lot more fun rides still, but no races for now or no Audaxes. Well, there is an Audax this December. We'll see. No boring days, please subscribe.